Hunt and Hill. Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill, holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios, it's Hunt and Hill. Now on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Welcome in. Hunt and Hill on a Thursday, St. Patrick's Day. Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios downtown in the capital city. I am Hunt Palmer, no Hill today, out for the next two. Enjoying a little time away, but Casey Gaines and Taylor Sharp are back there on the ones and twos, and we have a lot to talk about today over the next 2 hours. It's one of those days where sometimes when somebody has a two-person show, you count on a little bit of back and forth, a little bit of topics kind of creating themselves because of conversation. Good way to do radio. When you're by yourself, there is no other conversation. You got to come up with it, and it's 2 hours worth. So there's a little bit more prep work that can go into that because you're talking to yourself. So I was prepared to do a lot of that and did, and have a lot to talk about in the next 2 hours. But the content is just absolutely churning right now on the internet, on the televisions, everywhere you can possibly imagine. So we've got a lot to talk about. I'm really excited to do it. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us today. If you're playing hooky from work because you want to watch some hoops, the madness has begun. I'm looking up at our screens. I got Colorado State up 7 on Michigan. I've got South Dakota State and Providence in a 2-point game in the middle of the first half. So madness has begun, and LSU will tip off tomorrow. We will preview LSU and Iowa State. Actually, we'll not preview LSU and Iowa State. Let me rephrase that. We will preview the other game in LSU's pods. That is, of course, Wisconsin and Colgate with Michael Hogan, who covers Wisconsin for 247. That'll be at 1:30. Glenn West has covered this LSU basketball team. Also, the baseball team just went through some interviews, got an update on Blake Money, as well as some player interviews. Glenn West will join us in 30 minutes, and Luke Johnson in 15 minutes from right now, talking Deshaun Watson. That has been heating up exceptionally warm over the last 4 hours probably. Feels like there's something imminent one way or another, whether that's Atlanta, whether that's New Orleans, and the feeling is New Orleans is probably the front runner. Luke will tell us all about that in 15 minutes. What I'm going to do here for the first segment of the show is kind of encapsulate the Will Wade era as it has now come to a close. I've talked for the last 3 days about how disappointed I am about that because I follow this basketball program so closely. I pull for them. It's my alma mater. I love basketball and have thoroughly enjoyed Will Wade running LSU's basketball program. Obviously, the end of the era is going to be bumpy, and the next era is going to start on some terrible terms. But that doesn't, to me, right now, as I'm sitting here, take away from what we watched over the last 5 years. And I kind of want to encapsulate that and kind of put my thoughts on it as we walk into what he inherited and what he created here in Baton Rouge. There are some interesting numbers, some trends, and some things that I want to get to here. To put in perspective the team, the roster, the program that he inherited, they were coming off the worst season in the history of LSU basketball. It was a 2-16 league team, and this was the roster that put that number on the board. It was Brandon Sampson, Duop Reith, Antonio Blakeney, Elbert Robinson, Skylar Mays, Kieran Hayward, Brandon Jenkins, Jalen Patterson, Marshall Graves, Brian Bridgewater, Aaron Epps, Craig Victor, Wade Sims. They simply just were not at the level you need to be to compete in the Southeastern Conference. And the only guy on that team that was a significant contributor that you really needed to come back to see some results the following year was Antonio Blakeney, and he decided not to come back. He was going to pursue the NBA. He got on a G League team, played with the Bulls for a little bit, and he was the most talented player on that team, of course, a 5-star recruit. But there was really nothing coming back. It was going to be just as bad. And Will Wade took that over and overhauled this roster. And there were some guys from that roster that certainly contributed on Will Wade's first team that, as we remember, ended up in the NIT. Brandon Sampson, Duop Reith, Skylar Mays, those were guys that were difference makers on that team. Certainly Aaron Epps would qualify as that as well, Wade Sims. And then you look at Brandon Rashall, not really going to help you much. Darrell Edwards was a nice piece that he added. But he went and got Tremont Waters. That was the difference maker in that first year. And that's him having the ball in his hands and Skylar's improvement, along with Epps and Reith, Sampson stepping up, allowed LSU to go to Maui that Thanksgiving, the first year of the Wade era, and beat Michigan. And if you'll remember, that Michigan team they beat ended up being the national finalist, national runner-up. And they got through it and won 8 conference games and got into the NIT. And, of course, we remember taking shots at our program. You've been living under a rock, that famous press conference he delivered after LSU beat ULL, and they're running through the RPI numbers, the rolling RPI numbers, and talking about how his wins against Louisiana College and Xavier and Loyola of New Orleans or whoever don't count. And he was in the middle of it, and he was intense, and he was fired up, and it was new, and he knew he was building something impressive. And so he took that roster that was totally inequipped to compete in the SEC, ended up nearing 500 and winning an NIT game before they went up to Utah and got beat. But then he started recruiting. And look, you can make your jokes about this portion of the memory telling, but the fact of the matter is that he went out there and recruited, and he signed the number 4 class in the country coming right out of that. Got Nas Reed and Emmett Williams, who were both 5 stars by 247. Javonte Smart, who had 5 stars attached to his name at one point. Darius Days was in that class. Marlon Taylor he brought in that class as well. Andre Hyatt, who was a couple of years away and ended up redshirting that year, but he was in that class. It was the 4th-ranked class nationally, and we know what that team went on to do. They created an energy in that PMAC that we had been missing for a decade about. That Tennessee game will be famous, and I'll never forget walking into that Tennessee game. My parents had come down for it. They didn't visit Baton Rouge all that much, certainly not during basketball season, came down for a few football games a year. They're like, we're going to come watch the Tennessee game. I'm like, great, we're going. And we walked into the Tennessee game, and I look at my phone on Twitter, and I've got a tweet from whichever beat writer it may have been or TV guy, whoever. Tremont Waters will not play today. And I'm going, God. Got top 5 team in the country. They had just been number 1 in the country coming in. Got our chance here. We're trying to compete for the league title. Our best player's not playing. Full PMAC. And they got it done. Javonte put the team on his back. Skylar hit a huge 3. And they got it into overtime and won that game. Of course, that team wins the SEC and advances to the Sweet 16. They beat Baylor on the buzzer beater, and they get to Michigan State. And they had a chance in that game. Tremont led them back, and they got within striking distance with about 6 minutes left. Michigan State was just too good. Of course, that Michigan State team went on to beat Duke 2 days later and advance. So that was a really, really good team. But that lit the fire around here. And, of course, you lost a couple of guys off that team. Nas left early, but you came back and signed a class that had Trendon Watford in it. You had to replace Tremont, but Skylar was back. And that team had its ups and downs. Charles Manning was a big piece of that puzzle. And it would have been a tournament team had COVID not have cut it short. They come back and sign the number 4 class in the country the next year. Cam Thomas, Imwani Wilkinson, Eric Gaines, Jalen Cooks, Alex Fudge, Sharif, Josh LeBlanc. Of course, that team had unbelievable offensive potential and had guys that, Javonte, Cam, and Trendon are all playing in the NBA right now. Tremont's been back and forth. But that team was so much fun to watch. Just unfortunate that they couldn't pack the PMAC for that. And every time you talk about something that was so great in this Will Wade era, there's a handicap to it, meaning, we went to the NCAA tournament, got to the Sweet 16, but Wade wasn't there because he was suspended and it was up in the air. And then we had this team that was going to be really fun with this first-round pick throwing up 25 points a game, but had COVID and couldn't fill the arena. Went to the NCAA tournament, had to be in Bloomington and Indianapolis in front of nobody. Ran into the Michigan team, weren't good enough up front. Then you brought in this class. I'll be curious to watch this class, wherever they may be, what their college careers are. Brandon Murray, Efton Reed, Justice Williams, Eason will move on, Adam Miller, Xavier Pinson. Always brought talent. And in his 5 years, LSU was 108-53. He was accessible to the media. He was fun to listen to talk. I always talk about the Will Wade show. And there was energy in this town between December and SEC play in baseball. That's missing most of my life. And there was energy in this town. In conference play, he was 56-34, won 62% of his games. And that includes the 8-10 first year. After that, you had 16-2, 12-6, 11-7. That was the most games anybody won in the conference over those 3 years. I had to go back to 2005 to 2009. Brady's last 3 years and then Trent's first year. that had a Final Four team in it and an SEC championship team in it. That team won 63% of its conference games, right on par with what LSU had done, but he was sustaining it. They went to 4 straight NCAA tournaments if you give them the COVID year for the first time since 1993. That is almost 30 years from now. And that's just what makes me sad, because I just, it's not easy to do. As I've talked about a couple times this week, Mississippi State and Georgia hired Final Four coaches, established guys. They were gone in a handful of years. Ben Howland, out. Tom Crean, out. Florida hired an up-and-coming guy. Louisiana Tech, ton of energy, highly thought of. Goes to the Elite Eight. They'd have kicked him out the door. He just went to Georgia. No one takes the Georgia job over Florida. No one. You know, Kentucky hires Billy Gillispie, who had a ton of success over at A&M. They were in the NIT, kicked him out the door. Avery Johnson, NBA coach, champion as a player. Failed at Alabama. It's hard to get right. And LSU got it right, in my opinion. You want to come to me and say that you've got to, quote unquote, do it the right way? I can't tell you that you're wrong. But I like winning. And I understand the nature of college basketball. And I was fine with Will Wade piloting my program. 3 top 10 classes, 2 top 5 classes, in the mix, in the tournament every year, got to the second weekend once, won a league title 2 years after the worst season in the history of the school. It's just sad. It makes me sad. And I've found in my Twitter musings, message board stuff, text messages with friends, phone calls, that most people agree with me. Not all, but most do. And moving forward, starting tomorrow, when we preview this LSU game with Iowa State, when you're in the tournament again, and even in the second hour, when we start talking Wisconsin and Colgate, like, the page is turned. In the next 2 weeks, this ride's going to be over, and Scott Woodward will have some work to do. It'll be a tough job, and we won't have this discussion anymore. But for me, I just felt like it was something I wanted to do. I wanted to talk about, because I loved it. And I mentioned this on Monday, and there's a personal side to this. When he took this basketball program over and did what he did in the first year, and I saw that signing class coming in, I saw Naz Reid, Emmett Williams, Javonte Smart, Darius Days, Marlon Taylor. I saw the class he was bringing in to pair with Tremont Waters and Skylar Mays, Duop Reith, Aaron Epps. Reith moved on, Epps. But when I saw that group coming in, I said, this is gonna be pretty good. And I'm selling insurance. I'm not on the radio. I'm not on Hanging with Hester. I'm not on doing morning. I'm just selling insurance. So I called up here to Guarantee Broadcasting. I said, hey, if I do a daily basketball podcast, 10, 15 minutes a day, can I put that on y'all's site? Like, yeah, go ahead. So I foolishly, I've told this story before, like, I was discussing it with Matt Moscona. It's like, hey, we were talking. I'd had a couple drinks. He was like, you should do a daily basketball podcast. I was like, yeah, I could do that. Then I woke up the next morning and went, what did I just agree to do? I work what hours? I drive to New Orleans how many days a week? And I'm going to do a basketball podcast every morning? But I decided to do it. And I got that podcast, and it caught a little traction. I know a lot of y'all listen, and I could not thank y'all anymore for listening to Hoops with Hunt. And that year, they won the SEC, the Wade stuff, and the listenership built a little bit. I was able to get a sponsorship out of it, caught a little momentum. All of a sudden, I'm on Hester's show, doing some stuff in the morning, and all of a sudden, this slot comes open. And I don't think that I was offered this position because I did Hoops with Hunt, but I certainly don't think it hurt to have an on-air presence, to be on the website, to be following a team daily, to be a single voice broadcaster on that medium. that means a lot to me and certainly put me in a position here. Helped. So there's a personal side of it too. And I think there's a lot of people that would agree that it was really fun. And there's some really, really dark days ahead. But the good news is we're playing a team tomorrow in the NCAA tournament that went 0-18 in the Big 12 last year. There are going to be postseason bans very likely. There are going to be scholarship limitations very likely. The second those are lifted, if you've got the right guy in, you can make it work. But it's just a matter of getting the right guy in. That's going to be very difficult for Scott Woodward. We'll see. All right, that's putting a book in and shutting it. The Will Wade era here in Baton Rouge. Fun. It's over. This team's got a little story left to write, and then we'll see what comes up next. Speaking of what comes up next, New Orleans Saints are very much in the news. What's the latest on Deshaun Watson? How could they make that work? What would it mean for the cap? That's all questions I'd like answered, and Luke Johnson's going to join us next to do just that on Hunt and Hill.
Hunt Palmer and Jeremy Hill. It's Hunt and Hill.
If you're tired, having trouble losing weight, can't sleep, headaches, Sync Wellness can help. Go visit Sync Wellness, get that blood consultation. They'll take the test and the results, and they'll determine why you're having the issues you're having. Where are you deficient in terms of your micronutrients? They will help you fix it with their customized Sync packs. They'll look at the right vitamins, the right supplements to get into your system to make sure you're performing your best. You're sleeping your best. Your energy is the best it can be. Your work performance, cognitive ability is at the best it can be. Such an unbelievable resource here in Baton Rouge. We talk about those Sync packs. They also got those IV hydrations. You just got a hangover. They can help you with that. If you need to improve your physical performance, they can help you with that. Way your skin looks aesthetically, they can help you with that. Just go by and ask them. Say, hey, how can you help? And Angie Huff, their doctor of pharmacy over there, would be very, very happy to do it. They're just off the Highland exit of I-10 north. Take a ride on Old Perkins right there in that shopping center. You can't miss them on the left. Sync Wellness, SYNC. You can find them at synkwellness.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Bayou Ford has 0.9% for 60 months on new Ford F-150 plus $1,000 bonus cash. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. And right now, get $1,000 bonus cash plus 0.9% APR for 60 months on new 2021 Ford F-150. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
To the heroes who are working tirelessly to care for our communities, we thank you. We will never forget the countless hours you dedicated on the front lines, choosing to risk your own health to fight for our friends, neighbors, and family members.
I mean, you guys are out on the front lines fighting it.
We are grateful for your heroic acts and unwavering spirit. Together, we are overcoming this adversity and make our state healthier and more vibrant again. Auctioner Health.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, We've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All Star Toyota today.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
Moscona inviting you to join us for Wednesday's Hump Day AFR presented by Pluckers. NFL free agency officially begins. Deshaun Watson, Teron Armstead will have all the latest. Join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Twitter streets are hot. And if you hear this phone click and Luke Johnson doesn't answer my question, it's because he's taking some phone call in Deshaun Watson land. It has been quite a morning on the NFL Twitter streets, and Luke Johnson's been there for every bit of it. Luke, how are you?
I'm okay.
Well, look, Luke, we'll get right to it. I look at a Field Yates tweet from a few hours ago that said the Saints have restructured the contracts of Taysom Hill, Bradley Roby, Demario Davis, Malcolm Jenkins. They've cleared about $30 million in cap space. I'm connecting dots here. Are you?
No, I mean, yeah, they had to have that done in order to have any shot at making the move happen.
Yeah.
And you know, all those agreements were reached yesterday. So you know, I don't think that necessarily means anything. You know, it had to be done in order for that move to even be possible. So that's kind of where I'm looking at it.
All right, where are they in terms of their cap space right now? If we're talking about Deshaun Watson,
they are cleared hot right now. I believe so. You know, this is all this stuff has been like moving so fast, and so many moves have been made that it's hard to kind of keep track of it. But I believe right now they have $30 million in cap space. They might have to make one other move in order to make that possible before they could restructure his salary. Maybe there would be a deal where Houston takes some of it on.
Yeah.
I think there's just a lot of different parts there, but they should be in a good spot right now to make that happen immediately if needed to be.
So I'm more familiar with the way that Major League Baseball trades go, and more often than not, that's just two GMs on the phone that kind of make it work, and then the players find out about it. Deshaun Watson's involved in these meetings. So what is this process like? The team has to pitch Deshaun Watson on the fit so that he waives his no trade there, and then the Texans have to sign off on the return?
Yeah, so as I understand it, before these teams were even able to get involved in discussions with Deshaun Watson and make their pitch to him, like they had to have a trade ready that Houston would be willing to accept.
Okay.
So yeah, I think all these teams that were involved, the Browns, the Saints, the Panthers, and the Falcons all had deals in place that the Texans would have considered agreeable before they even got to the table with Deshaun Watson to pitch him on the team. And from everything all the reporting that is out there, that looks like it would be 3 first-round picks, probably some young players on rookie contracts, of which the Saints don't have a ton, but they have some pretty notable guys, and maybe some additional draft capital as well.
All right, you're a beat writer who writes news stories, but I'll let you put your opinion cap on here for a second. Is this the right move if it's 3 first rounds and a young player just to get that position settled with a 27-year-old player right in the middle of his prime who's a top 5, 6, 7 player of that position?
Look, if you're talking in pure football terms, yeah, I mean, this is a no-brainer. You could have those three first round draft picks and maybe get a really good player out of that. And maybe another one is a role player, maybe another guy doesn't pan out. I think you look at the Saints first rounders the last couple of years. I mean, since really 2017, they haven't had just a absolute rock star come out of that, right? Marcus Davenport has shown flashes of being a very, very good NFL player, but obviously he has not been able to put that together over the course of a full season. Cesar Ruiz, I think, has been disappointing. And obviously Peyton Turner last year dealt with his own his own injury problems. So, I don't think those picks are a sure thing. And I'll tell you what Deshaun Watson is as a football player. He's a top 5 NFL quarterback. And those guys just do not come around very often. If you have a chance of going to get one, you go get one. But I think the conversation's a lot more nuanced than that, because I don't think you can look at this in pure football terms. That's what the Saints are doing. That's what a lot of teams are doing, because that's how rare these guys are. But there's certainly other things to consider when you're talking about Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, and that stuff, that's going to be to each their own opinion. We put a poll question out there. I've taken no Twitter interaction on it. And it's not necessarily a discussion we need to have. It is what it is. You feel one way or you feel the other. As far as what you've heard or kind of what you've read, looking through the grapevine, what kind of time frame are we looking at here? Are we looking at pretty imminent either way?
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, he's already started to whittle down his options, right? Cleveland's not on the table anymore. Everything I've seen is that Carolina kind of feels like it's out too. So it really just it's down to New Orleans and Atlanta, it feels like. And I would imagine that we'd have some sort of resolution on this today. But then again, earlier in the week, I figured that they'd have a kind of a trade in place by Wednesday, because that was the start of the new league year, and there was some contract stuff where bonuses get paid out on that day and stuff like that. So I would think today, but the way this thing's played out, I think you should not be just assuming anything at this point.
You're looking for the news at by Luke Johnson's, where you can find it. Outside of Deshaun Watson, tell me where else the Saints are kind of looking. Well, actually, no, I had a thought when you were saying that. Does the fact that it is Atlanta mean anything or put any sort of urgency under the Saints front office? I mean, I'm not talking about I don't like the Falcons, but you play them every year.
Yeah, I think there is a sense of urgency. I don't know if they. I don't think this is the sort of thing where a division rival gets involved and then that starts a bidding war where one side's trying to hurt the other one in that way. I don't think that's how this is going. I think really the involvement of division rivals here kind of ups the stakes for the recruitment, right? I think that's really more what it is. I think that's why we saw Gail Benson go to Atlanta. I guess it was yesterday to talk with Deshaun Watson and the Saints brass. They're kind of ramping up their recruitment of him, and I think that's kind of what it all boils down to, in my opinion.
So what else is this on the Saints' wish list while free agency is open and ready?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of this depends on what happens with Deshaun Watson. I think, obviously that will make them a much more attractive landing spot. If you're talking about having a top 5 NFL quarterback on that roster, I think that would make people want to play. I think that's why nothing's happened with Teron Armstead yet. But look, I think one way or another, regardless of what happens here, I think they absolutely need to add a receiver to that team. They addressed the safety position after Marcus Williams signed in Baltimore. They went out and got Marcus May, so I think that's pretty much locked up. I think you'd be looking at them probably wanting to add a running back, just with the uncertainty regarding Alvin Kamara's legal situation right now, and his potential suspension coming down from the NFL this year. If Teron Armstead doesn't come back here, I think offensive tackle is a need position. And even if they get Deshaun Watson, maybe you're looking at one of their young offensive linemen being included in a trade, and that opens up another hole there as well. So I think a lot of this stuff kind of depends on what happens with Deshaun, but there are some needs that absolutely need to be addressed regardless. And I think their wide receiver one is, this is a good year to be needing a receiver. There's plenty of guys out there on the open market who could be really big time contributors here. I think Jarvis Landry is the one that immediately comes to mind for me. It'd be kind of perfect for what they need on this team. And in the draft, I think this is another really good year for receivers in the draft. And even if they get Deshaun and they can't go out and spend money on a receiver, and they don't have the high level draft assets, I think they'll still be able to find somebody who's able to contribute in a pretty big way with one of their 2 third-round picks.
Luke, I know it's a really busy day. Really, really appreciate some time. Get back to it.
Of course, man. My pleasure. Good talking to you, Hunt. And hey, go Brewers,
Oh, shut up. Hang the phone up on him. That's Luke Johnson from the Advocate and NOLA.com. Go Brewers. That's a disgusting way to end a phone call. So, look, I think It's interesting. They're right in the middle of it, and most of the people I talk to who are Saints fans and diehards want this to happen. He's probably better than you remember because you don't watch the Texans. When you look at statistically some of the things that he's done in his short time in the NFL, 33 touchdowns, 7 picks while leading the NFL in passing yards with a terrible team. He's really, really good. The legal situation is what it is. You can say what you will about that. I was on the record earlier this week that it just kind of feels, but look, it's not the Saints' job to be judge and jury. Put him available. Saints' job's to win. Make that happen. If you don't think it's the right thing to do, support that as well. But it's interesting for sure, and we'll see if something breaks. We will certainly have all of it here for you on Hunt and Hill. As I look up at my screen, Colorado State 38, Michigan 35. They are early in the second half there. South Dakota State and Providence are at the half. Looks like that is a 3-point game is what it looks like. Memphis and Boise set to tip here very, very shortly. So the madness has begun, and we will certainly talk about some of that coming up a little bit later in hour number 2. We will have Michael Hogan from Badger 247, of course, Wisconsin, and Colgate, the game opposite LSU and Iowa State. Want to get a preview of the Badgers and what they may be looking for from Colgate as well. It's a team that can really, really shoot. But I don't know that it's a terrible matchup for LSU either way. We shall see. When we come back, LSU basketball and some LSU baseball as well. Glenn West just interviewed Jay Johnson as well as some players. We get an update from Blake Money and all that comes with the SEC opener against Texas A&M next on Hunt and Hill.
Holding down the middle of the day. This is Hunt and Hill. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli? I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law offices of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
And this year, 2022, it's time to finally treat yourself. Bring your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service. You want the latest and greatest marine technology? You want to go to the place that has not one, but 2 NMEA-certified techs. Family-owned and operated by the Sherman family for 30 years. Front-to-back is the answer in Baton Rouge for all of your custom boat needs. So head to fronttobackboatservice.com or find them on Facebook, Front to Back Boat Service.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Hey, look what I found!
The motivation I needed to live healthier.
My new favorite sport.
I found my groove.
I found I'm part fish.
My second win when I needed it most.
I found more than a gym.
The affordable childcare this mom needed. Time for myself. We found our why.
Have you found yours?
Madness returns. Tune in for live play-by-play of the 2022 Men's NCAA Tournament Thursday night at 8, Friday night at 6, Saturday at noon, and Sunday at 11 a.m. on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
6 seed Colorado State leads 11 seed Michigan 41-38, 15 and a half minutes to play in that one. Early morning action here as the madness has begun. Tigers and Iowa State tomorrow. Glenn West covers the Tigers for SI, LSU Country. He joins us now. Glenn, how are you?
Hey, Hunt. I feel like I'm coming down off a 5-day roller coaster. How about you, man?
I'm sad. I opened the show with it again today. I've done it like 4 days in a row. Just a sad guy. But everyone's already well aware of that. Your thoughts when you saw that Will Wade, his time in Baton Rouge was done?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing for me was kind of surprised by the timing. I think kind of as last week unfolded, and certainly when the NOA was released, I kind of had a different thinking of the fact that, you just can't, if there's 7 level 1 violations in this thing, and it just didn't make a whole lot of sense to keep Coach Wade around if he was going to have to answer questions about the NOA and all that stuff if it was going to be released publicly. So just kind of having a few days to let it marinate. I kind of understand where they're getting from in terms of just letting go now. But look, I mean, I think I'm kind of in a similar boat with a lot of people. Obviously, Coach Wade brought a lot of success here, and certainly was great to cover the last couple of years. He was very good to the media, the local media, and it was kind of conflicting feelings because you also read the NOA, and there's a lot of stuff in there that I don't think was a lot of public knowledge, and certainly have to wait, over the next several months to see how it all unfolds. But certainly I think there should be conflicting feelings here in Baton Rouge among the fan base and everyone who follows this team closely.
So you cover this thing a lot closer than I do. I watch them, but I'm not in there interviewing guys and speaking with them. Feels like there are a lot of guys on an LSU football team that are from the state and have wanted to play here forever. Feels like baseball, kind of the same deal. I always go back to like Mason Katz and Ray Fromm, some of those guys that just always wanted to play for LSU, and that was the biggest thing. Will Wade brought all these guys from all over the country here, and it felt like he was the linchpin of this whole thing. How do you think they reacted to this, and how do you think they'll respond on the floor tomorrow?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, recruiting, particularly in college basketball, and Coach Wade used to really tell us all this all the time in the media. It's about building relationships between the coaches and players more than anything. I mean, if you're a blue blood like Kentucky or Duke, it might carry a little bit of an extra weight with the program that you're at. But for a program like LSU that was certainly just trying to establish itself, the players really related well to Coach Wade, and I think he had a really nice sense of being able to tap into what they were looking for in terms of their development and how he was going to help them achieve their goals. And that was certainly a big linchpin, like you mentioned, of them getting them here. And there was a lot of shock, I think, around the program when he was let go over the weekend. I know that they had a couple of team meetings, and Darius Day spoke with the team personally with the players only meeting, and obviously he's somebody who's been through this before a couple of years back with Coach Wade being suspended. So You have to really try to shift your focus. I don't know how easy that is for college athletes to be able to do when you lose your guy. Your coach that you were hoping to go into battle with. It puts them in a pretty poor situation, to be honest. And I'll be very interested to see how they come out tomorrow and perform.
How do you like the draw?
I don't mind the draw. I thought it was actually a lot of people are saying it's not a really great matchup. I actually think it's a pretty solid matchup for them. This is an Iowa State team that in a lot of ways kind of built off its defense and kind of the offense is a little bit more on the upswing. They I think scored something like 35 or 40 points or something in a game a couple of weeks ago. I mean, those are the kind of teams that LSU really has had success with. The teams that are kind of scrappy but not too great on offense, because LSU is very much cut from the same cloth. And I think if LSU comes out and plays aggressive on defense and kind of does what it does best in turning its defense into offense, I think it certainly can lead to some success in that opening round matchup for sure.
Let's switch gears to baseball. Got an update on Blake Money today from Jay Johnson?
Yeah, it was still to be determined kind of thing. He was very non-committal in telling people he was going to play tomorrow. I actually just kind of happened into Blake after the game on Tuesday, and kind of fist bumped a little bit and said, "Hey, I'll be back out there soon." He didn't go into much detail or anything like that, but I do think it's not going to be a long-term thing. That's everything we're hearing, everything we're being told is they just want to be cautious with it, and if that means him missing a weekend, then I certainly think you probably see Ty Floyd slip up to the Friday spot, potentially Hilliard in that Saturday role, and then kind of going by committee on Sunday. So I think they're in a good spot in terms of their pitching staff because there's so many guys they can rely on and get good outings from, and so I do think that you can certainly last the weekend without Blake Money if it's going to get him 100% healthy for the strength of the SEC schedule.
Where are you on Ty Floyd? I'm going to talk about that in 20 minutes, but where are you on him as a weekend starter?
I think there's still a lot of development that needs to be made. It really scares me kind of heading into SEC play that they rely so much on the fastball with him. I think he needs to really show that he can be consistent with those off-speed pitches, and that's something we haven't really seen a lot of him yet this year. And I know it was something he worked on a lot over the off season. We just need to see it kind of translate into some of these more tougher SEC outings where you're going to go against experienced veteran hitters. And I think this weekend will certainly tell us a lot. I think next weekend at Florida will tell us a lot. And so I do think you have to keep rolling out with him for the foreseeable future just to see how he handles some of these more up-tempo matchups. And I'll be very interested to see how he does this weekend.
Glenn West from LSU Country is our guest here on Hunt and Hill. Where do you think this team is entering SEC play, specifically from, I guess we've talked about pitching from an offensive perspective?
Yeah, they're in a good spot. Look, I think they finally tapped into a lineup that really can work for the foreseeable future. I really like the move of Gio and Wright. Obviously, a lot of fans saw it on Tuesday against Tulane. He just gives you a great presence out there in right field, a veteran arm, a veteran player who makes a lot of the right plays. And the knock on Gio for all these years has been he hasn't been as great an offensive player, but he's been really solid and consistent with the bat. The last couple of games, you've seen Jacob Berry, I think, really adjust to third base a little bit better. He's making the routine plays that are hit his way, and I think that's pretty much all you can ask for at this point, with it being such a small sample size. But I do think that this is a lineup they can feel comfortable with. I think ideally you'd like to have Milazzo back at catcher sooner than later. But I think really the crux of this lineup, I think, has been discovered, and I think it's something they'll roll out with this weekend.
We had Jason Kelly on yesterday, and I could kind of hear it in his voice when I asked the question. They need Milazzo back behind the plate. They're so good 1 through 8 that if they can just get him to hit 200 with a couple of bunts a weekend, they need him back there.
Yeah, I'm completely in that same boat. He's such a impact player defensively for them. And look, I mean, his at-bats this year have been very good. I mean, look, when he's been playing, like you said, he's been doing sacrifice bunts at a consistent rate. He's been drawing walks. His strikeouts are down from past seasons, and occasionally he'll put the barrel on a ball and get a nice hit. But I do think that he's somebody that's going to be a staple of this team when he's healthy and when he gets back, still don't know a timetable for him, which is a little concerning. I'm not exactly sure when they expect him back, but certainly, hopefully, in the next few weeks, they can start to roll him out there and be a consistent part of the rotation again.
All right, let's just have some prediction fun here. 30 SEC games. It starts tomorrow. Where do you have this team about?
I mean, you got to put them in that upper echelon, I think. I mean, their offense is going to be so good that they're going to be able to keep them in most games. I really, truly believe that, and I would put them in that upper echelon of the Arkansas, the Mississippi States, the Ole Miss, and LSU. I think are all kind of right there. Florida, you could certainly throw in there as well. I think they're all right there in that upper echelon of the conference. And look, I mean, the thing that I actually asked Jay about today was, with kind of your home schedule or your away schedule being so difficult, how important is it to kind of take care of the home stretches and the home weekends? And he was very much didn't deviate from his point that he treats this as a 56 game playoff. They treat this every game like it's a playoff atmosphere and a playoff game, and that's the kind of mindset that they have. And so when you're able to kind of have that approach on the next game, motto, I think it can help your team and kind of help them from alleviating from some of the distractions that can occur and pop up during SEC play.
How far does this basketball team make it?
I think they can get into the round of 32. I think they can set themselves up well for a potential matchup against Wisconsin. I do like them in this game against Iowa State. I do think that the players will play with a little chip on their shoulder. I think obviously that not having Coach Wade there might give them a little extra boost. But again, you can never tell. I mean, this team has been so up and down this season. If you get the right LSU team, they can either break your heart or they can give you a lot of success. And I think they're certainly capable of making a run into the second weekend if they can get on a hot streak. But without Coach Wade there, I definitely feel like a round of 32 exit is kind of the most likely occurrence to happen.
Enjoy the conference baseball opener this weekend in the Madness. We'll talk soon. Thanks, Glenn.
Yes, sir. You too. Thanks, Hunt.
Glenn West, LSU Country, part of the SI Network, and we appreciate him coming on, lending some perspective. What I like to do when I have these beat writers on, I just don't get a chance anymore to talk to these players daily like I did back when I covered the team. And I can analyze the game and look at the box scores and see some quotes here and there, but they talk to these guys, and that's why Glenn gives you a little perspective as to what these basketball players may be feeling about Will Wade and what they may be feeling when they go up there and play this basketball game tomorrow. And then certainly you get some information from press conferences over there with baseball that I can't handle because I'm right here talking to you guys from 12 to 2, and there's nowhere I'd rather be. Trust me. But appreciate Glenn for coming on. We'll come back and close out hour number 1 coming up. When we get back for hour number 2, I'm going to give you kind of my state of the baseball union as we enter LSU SEC play for the baseball team. And Michael Hogan from Badger 247 will be our guest at 1:30 to talk Wisconsin and Colgate. They will tip it off in Milwaukee tomorrow. We'll come back and finish up hour number 1 next on Hunt and Hill.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge with Hunt and Hill.
FanDuel wants you to protect yourself against updates this March with the Bracket Parlay Insurance on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Right now, all customers can get up to $25 back each day if your parlay of 3 legs or more falls 1 leg short. Look, they got a lot of parlay options there on the FanDuel Sportsbook. You can just click and see them all right there on the app. The exact number of number 1 seeds to reach the Final Four is one bet that I think is interesting. I like LSU's odds to make the Sweet 16, plus 172 if they win a couple of games, or minus 215 if you want to bet against them. You got to bet $215 to win 100. Parlays are great because you can turn a small bet into a big payday, and with cash out, the ball is in your court. So you can close out your bet whenever you want before the game is over. If you're new to FanDuel, just sign up with the promo code 1045ESPN. Then you can bet the bracket all tournament long. That's promo code 1045ESPN on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. You must be 21 and present in Louisiana. If exactly 1 leg loses, the refund is issued as a non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. The NCAA Tournament SBK, that's bracket insurance wager, is required. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-877-770-STOP.
We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors. It's
Madness edition of Game Time presented by Bet Rivers. We started off a Wednesday. Hanny will be with me at Magnolia Bluffs Casino and Hotel in Natchez, Mississippi. Game Time presented by Bet Rivers on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Be quick here. We appreciate Luke Johnson and Glenn West for jumping aboard there, talking to Sean Watson and then LSU basketball and baseball. Some scores from the Madness. Michigan up 3 on Colorado State, under 7 minutes to play in that game. And South Dakota State getting trounced by Providence, 43-29, a 14-point game, the under 16 timeout right there. I, of course, have South Dakota State in that one. So we're looking at about 2 hours before my bracket completely busts. Doesn't completely bust, but I don't get a perfect bracket, which is predictable. Also in action right now, Boise State and Memphis, the 8-9 game out west. That is Memphis 8, Boise State 4, as they play with 16 minutes to go in the first half of that one. I'll give you what my bracket actually looks like here. I am enrolled, of course, in the 104.5 ESPN Bracket Challenge. I hope you are. $2,022 is on the line. Big screen TV on the line. 2 nights at Beau Rivage on the line. But if you're not in now, you're out. My Final Four, I've got Duke advancing to the Final Four, beating Gonzaga in the Elite 8. I don't feel super awesome about that one, but I will take it. I've got Purdue in the Final Four as well. You heard me yesterday draft them in Jeremy and I's draft. I just love Jaden Ivey, and we'll see. That's going to be a brutal road for Purdue. They're probably going to have to beat Kentucky and Baylor to get there, but we'll see. But I've got Duke and Purdue on that side of the Final Four. On the other side, I've got Arizona. I think they're really, really good. I've got them beating Tennessee in the Elite Eight to advance to the Final Four. So like the Wildcats. And then Kansas is my pick from the Midwest. I don't like it. I think that bracket is weak. It's LSU's bracket. Anybody could come out of that thing. As I mentioned yesterday, I don't think Kansas is awesome. I don't think Auburn's great right now. Wisconsin has certainly got their flaws for sure. Providence, I picked against them in the first round against South Dakota State. Shows what I know. They're handling them pretty good. Iowa is good, and I took them as the national championship potentially in yesterday's draft to kind of go off the wall. But I've got so my Final Four is Duke, Purdue, Arizona, and Kansas. I've got a final of Arizona playing Purdue and beating them by 5 points. Wildcats hoisting it all, cutting down the nets when it's all over. It's not a huge pick. It's probably going to win me a lot of money because a lot of people are going to have them, and you usually have to kind of go off the radar if you want to win some cash. But that's what I've got. Trying to get a perfect bracket, which is not going to happen. Michigan 5-point lead, 6 minutes to play in that game over Colorado State. We'll take a timeout. When we come back, my State of the Union for LSU baseball entering Southeastern Conference play, pitching, defense, the bats. It's all coming up, and we will talk at 1:30 with Michael Hogan from Badger 247. Come back with us. It's a Thursday edition of Hunt and Hill.
Bayou Ford has 0% for 60 months on new Ford F-150s plus $1,000 bonus cash. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. And right now, get $1,000 bonus cash plus 0% APR for 60 months on new 2021 Ford F-150. Shop now at BayouFord.com. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
During these challenging times, we know your healthcare needs don't stop. Cancer, accidents, injuries, and heart disease are relentless. So we are relentlessly innovating to keep you safe, both virtually and in person, connecting you with providers remotely, advancing clinical spaces, providing rapid and accurate testing, social distancing, and certified cleaning protocols. We are Auctioner, and we will not slow down. Auctioner Health, innovating healthcare.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law offices of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All Star Toyota today.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Hunt and Hill. Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill, holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio, it's Hunt and Hill. Now on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Out in the open field, Hunt and Hill here on a Thursday, St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Wearing a little green here. Is it okay to pinch people in the office place if they're not wearing green? Is that an acceptable thing? I'd probably stay away from that. Just be safe. But I'm safe because I'm wearing green. Hopefully you are out there as well. I know the boys on the morning show were drinking green beer at 7 o'clock this morning. So shout out to them. That's solid work. They got a real thing going. They got champagne shenanigans on Friday in the later hours of their show. They've got green beer on a Thursday at 7 a.m. March Madness Thursday, nonetheless. But I want to talk a little baseball here to kick off hour number 2. LSU, of course, opening Southeastern Conference play, coming up against Texas A&M tomorrow night at the Box. Baseball team right now, as they sit, 14-3 on the season. And in those 17 games, they've only played 4 real competitive games. They played the extra inning game against Oklahoma on the Friday afternoon of the Shriners Classic in Houston. Won that one. The Baylor game that Sunday night was back and forth. I would call that a competitive game. Baylor won it by 3. Last Friday was weird and wild with Bethune-Cookman. LSU won that one 8-7. And then they beat Tulane on Tuesday 7-5. Those are really the only 4 games that I would deem as high-leverage competitive games that LSU has played. Yeah, the Texas game, there were a couple of scenarios late where LSU put some guys on base, but you lost the game 6-1. So I think those 4 really the only competitive. So you don't know a ton about this team. The non-conference schedule, quite frankly, stunk. I mean, it was just you had right now, just to put in perspective, Maine, who you opened with, has been terrible. They're 3-11. Towson, who you played as part of the Towson Southern weekend, is 5-11. Bethune-Cookman is also 5-11. Southern, not very good. And then midweek games don't really showcase, elite level arms or the best arms you're going to see. Nobody's really throwing their guy out there. So the non-conference, it's tough to draw a ton from. But I'm going to sit here and kind of tell you where I think this team is in all 3 phases of the game as LSU enters Southeastern Conference play. In all 3 of your losses, you have made 2 or more errors. That is unacceptable. And we know the defense has been an issue. When you don't make 2 or more errors, so if you just make 1 or 0 errors, you're 9-0. The issue is that you've made 2 or more errors in 8 of your 17 games. But in your last 5, you have not done that. You've made 1 or 0. So maybe things are getting a little bit better on the defensive side. Look, I think Cade Doty is going to be fine at second base. I think Jacob Berry is okay at third. Now, because Jacob Berry is perceived by all of those who watch as a below-average defensive player, I've seen this a million times in every sport. His errors are going to be amplified. If Austin Nola makes an error at shortstop, or Alex Bregman makes an error at shortstop, or if Cam Thomas misses a free throw, nobody goes, oh, God, can't do it. No. But when something happens that you're perceived this narrative that you've got to feed to, it gets exacerbated. Now, he may make a bunch of errors at third, but I'm going to need to see that before I chisel it in stone. What's my opinion? That Jacob Berry is a below-average third baseman. He hasn't made an error there yet. I'm okay with letting it ride. I watched him a little bit, and I've seen him. He looks okay out there moving around. He made a couple of nice plays against Tulane. He's not going to win the Gold Glove, but I think he's going to be okay at third base. Thompson is making some difficult plays, probably getting a little bit of confidence. He's been a little bit better over the last week and a half. I think the defense will improve after what we saw through 3 weeks, and it can't get any worse. As I mentioned, in 8 of your first 12 games, you made multiple errors. That's unacceptable. I think that's going to get better. So that I'm optimistic about. And trust me, I'm not going to be optimistic about everything. Just as we work through things, I think the defense is going to be okay. Pitching is the most important thing. And while the teams LSU has played on the weekend outlined have been very poor, Blake Money to me looks like the real deal. Now, I don't like a pitcher having a wrist injury. I don't like a pitcher having any injury. It's just, it can be a slippery slope for those guys. Something doesn't feel right, you compromise your mechanics, then something really goes wrong, and bad things can happen. So that's still a possibility with him as he continues to work through this wrist injury. But on the year, Blake Money is 29 strikeouts to 5 walks. He's only walked 5 guys. His opponent batting average is 159. I thought he was pretty good against Oklahoma, 6 2/3, so he worked into the 7th inning. 8 hits is a lot, but only 1 earned run. He struck out 7 and walked 1. He made some big pitches with guys on base early in the game. He's not a true bona fide ace at this point, but he looks the part that could be a Friday night guy, especially in a league that's not swimming with top 20 picks by my eye right now. He looks like he could be a guy at the top of the rotation. We may not find that out this weekend. And A&M's not exactly a powerhouse. If you went out there against Ole Miss this weekend and went 7 shutouts with 11 strikeouts, then I'd know you had something because Ole Miss is right there with LSU offensively. But I'm confident that Money has the goods if he's healthy. I think Mikhail Hilliard can be counted on to start a game on the weekend and keep you in it for 5 innings. It's weird he didn't pitch in the Houston weekend. That was odd. It must have been a matchup thing. They do a lot of matchup stuff in there, and it must not have looked good. But on the year, he's thrown 14 innings, 12 strikeouts, 2 walks, 5 earned. I think he's fine. Last year, after he moved into the rotation, he had 7 starts. He was 3-0. His ERA was 3.4. He pitched 34 innings, had 39 strikeouts. 29 strikeouts, 7 walks. I think he's serviceable in the weekend rotation for 5 innings. And what LSU's going to turn these weekends into is who can get outs. And I think he can get you 15 outs and keep you in the game. Do I think that I'm comfortable with him going 7 innings more often than not? No. Do I think he's going to be a dominant starter? No, I don't. I think he can get you through 5 innings. I don't trust Ty Floyd right now. Right now, I believe he's overmatching bad teams with a good fastball. He's also walked 11 guys in 20 innings. That's 1 every 2 innings. In the 20 innings, he's allowed 21 base runners, and those starts are against Maine, Towson, Texas, and Bethune-Cookman. Look, he missed some bats with the fastball against Texas, and they're good. But I don't trust him right now to be a weekend starter. I hope he proves me wrong. So obviously, and this is, pretty generic commentary, but right now, I think they're Jared Poche away. They're freshman Eric Walker away. They're just missing that number 2 guy. I'd even take Ryan Eads. I know he made the big leagues, but he had his ups and downs at LSU. But I felt like when you went out there against an SEC team, he had a pretty good chance to go through 6 innings and really keep you in the game. You go through those number 2 starters that LSU's had. I'd take Landon Marceau, even though he developed into an ace last year. They're just that one guy away. I really think Money can be it, the lead guy. So what's the guy between that and Hilliard? If you bump Hilliard to that spot, I don't love it. If you have Hilliard in the 3 hole to give you 5 innings and you got that bullpen coming behind him, I feel better. And so I love Ty Floyd's fastball. I just don't know that you're gonna overwhelm SEC lineups the way he has some of these teams he's faced. And like I said, he's given up more than a base runner an inning. So the bullpen is a strength right now. Now, again, lineups hadn't been great, but Raiselman's been dominant, and I love where he is. 20 strikeouts and 0 earned runs in 10 2/3. That's a stopper. And you know what I'm okay with the stopper? You say, well, put him as a closer or start him. Okay, they've decided he's going to be in the bullpen. So the conjecture about, hey, can you put him in the starting rotation, that's pretty much done. I'm okay with him coming in the third inning and just stabilizing the thing if things get wobbly for a starter. You start Floyd and they light him up in the second inning and they've already scored 4 runs. Same thing happens to Hilliard. Go to him now. He threw 35 pitches on Tuesday. He can do that. Throw me 3 innings and stabilize this thing so let the offense catch back up. Use him as a stopper. I love him. Gervais has been very good. 10 2/3 innings for him, 19 strikeouts, only 3 walks. Nobody in the bullpen outside of Schaefer, whose first outing was terrible and he hasn't pitched much since, but nobody in the bullpen has more than 3 walks on the season. And Gervais has thrown a bunch of strikes. It's a weird 6'10" delivery. It's 3/4. He's throwing the fastball in there, and he's been good. I like him as well. Devin Fontenot's had his ups and downs, but more so ups. He closed the game out on Tuesday. I thought looked really good in that role. 10 innings, 10 strikeouts for him. And I think Trent Vittmeyer's a guy you can trust right now. Just 5 innings in his 4 appearances, so it's a 1-inning guy. But in his 5 innings, 6 strikeouts, 1 earned run, only walked 2. He's not going to be intimidated by the moment. The slider's really good. So for me, Raiselman, Vittmeyer, Fontenot, and Gervais, I really, really like. I think Grant Taylor's got all the ability in the world. He's got 9 strikeouts in his 7 innings. Keep getting him in there. Dutton has shown himself to have some ability as well. And Bryce Collins has some pitchability that I think is going to play as the season goes on. He's still missed 2 years of baseball. That breaking ball is really good. Weather warms up. Maybe he's throwing 91, 92, spinning that thing. I think he'll be okay. He's got 8 strikeouts in 7 1/3. They've hit him a little bit. But I think between Raiselman, Gervais, Fontenot, Vittmeyer, Collins, Grant Taylor, Sam Dutton, there's something there. Now they're going to continue to trot Riley Cooper out there, and he's been poor in his outings. But he got a lot of outs last year for Arizona. Right now they're hitting .371 against him, so it hasn't been good. But he is left-handed, and none of the guys I just went through are left-handed. So they're going to have to continue to try with him and Schaefer. But the guys I mentioned that I like, Raiselman, Vittmeyer, Fontenot, Gervais, Collins, Taylor, and Dutton, that's 7 guys behind the starters. So while this is not the way I would like to do it, it's the way they're choosing to do it, and I think there's an ability to win some games. I just think they're one piece away right now. I don't think they have it. So we'll see. That's your look at the pitching staff and the defense. I do want to get to the offense when we come back. I've got some notes, some statistics, some trends that I want to get to, but I do want to break for time because we do have to get at 1:30 to our Wisconsin beat writer to talk about Wisconsin and Colgate. If you're in the Bayou Ford chat, fire away your questions or comments towards this baseball team, and we'll get to some of those as we move forward. Stick with us on St. Patty's Day. It's a Thursday edition of Hunt and Hill.
Serving up the latest from the sports world. It's Hunt and Hill.
Brake Medics, brakemedics.com. Brake repair anywhere. Got to service those automobiles. Keep you on the road, keep you safe. Brake Medics is the most convenient, cost-effective option for brake repair in our listening area. Baton Rouge, other side of the river, west of us. You can go all the way east to Denham, Hammond, North Shore. They can get to you. They'll pull up to your home, to your place of work in that red and blue truck. They'll get that jack out. You hand them the keys. You can sit on the couch, get back to work, whatever you need to do. Brake Medics will be there to service those brakes. They've got awesome financing options. We tell you about it every day. You never budget to have your brakes repaired. Not like electrical or the mortgage. But sometimes it pops up, and Brake Medics is here to help you with that. They've got 0% down, 0% financing options to get you through that. It's not going to break the bank. Just $450 for a full front and rear brake service. And with that, pads, rotors, all the way around with a 24-month, 24,000-mile nationwide warranty. Go to BrakeMedics.com, put in all your information, make, model, the issues that you're feeling. They will get back to you quickly, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they will set an appointment to come see you. Brake Medics, brake repair anywhere. BrakeMedics.com. Brake Medics, we make house calls.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
To the heroes who are working tirelessly to care for our communities, we thank you. We will never forget the countless hours you dedicated on the front lines, choosing to risk your own health to fight for our friends, neighbors, and family members.
I mean, you guys are out on the front lines fighting it.
We are grateful for your heroic acts and unwavering spirit. Together, we are overcoming this adversity and make our state healthier and more vibrant again. Auctioner Health.
And this year, 2022, it's time to finally treat yourself. Bring your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service. You want the latest and greatest marine technology? You want to go to the place that has not one, but 2 NMEA-certified techs. Family-owned and operated by the Sherman family for 30 years, front-to-back is the answer in Baton Rouge for all of your custom boat needs. So head to fronttobackboatservice.com or find them on Facebook, Front to Back Boat Service.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
The motivation I needed to live healthier.
My new favorite sport.
I found my groove.
I found I'm part fish.
My second win when I needed it most.
I found more than a gym.
The affordable childcare this mom needed. Time for myself. We found our why.
Have you found yours?
If home is where the heart is, a roof is a shield. That's why for over 25 years, South Louisiana always turns to Garcia Roofing and Sheet Metal. For more,
Madness returns. Tune in for live play-by-play of the 2022 Men's NCAA Tournament Thursday night at 8, Friday night at 6, Saturday at noon, and Sunday at 11 a.m. on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I hate to shock you here. I don't want you to wreck your car, so maybe keep your foot close to the brake. My bracket's not going to be perfect this year. It's tough to admit. It takes a big guy to admit that, but it's not going to be perfect, as it appears that, yep, it's final. Michigan beats Colorado State, the 11 seed, over the 6. I still think Michigan's not any good. But I just saw Juwan Howard get through the handshake line. He didn't punch anybody. That's a win. 2 wins for Michigan today. They won a game, and their coach didn't start a fist fight in the post-game handshake line. So it's really all coming up Wolverines today. Not coming up Hunt Palmer, as I am 0-1 in my bracket. And the second game is South Dakota State Providence, and I'm down 7 points in that one as well. Providence leads South Dakota State 54-47, 5 minutes and 20 seconds to play in that game. Bidding up for a hot start, 0-2. Hope you listen to all my picks. They're not very good. All right, let's talk about LSU baseball. We did defense and pitching in the last segment. Going to get to some offensive things here. I'm really, really buying this offense. I laid out the records of the teams that LSU has played thus far. They are terrible. However, this offensive team is salty. And I think they're finding their way with the guys that they want out there. It's a deal where early in the season you do want to get some guys some at-bats, and that is kind of dwindling now and maybe kind of over at this point as they've moved forward with the guys that I think are going to be a part of this thing. We know that Cruz, Doty, Berry, and Morgan are going to be the engine that makes this thing work. They're all hitting about 350 or higher. Trey Morgan a tick under that at 348. But he does a great job of walking as well. He's got 9 walks on the season. Cruz and Berry each have 10 multi-hit games in 17 games. That's pretty good. Cruz is hitting 388 with 4 homers. He has walked 9 times. Strikeout number's a little bit high for him at 14. But he's swinging the bat awesome. K. Doty has been exceptional as well. He's got 6 homers and 10 doubles to lead the way. 16 extra base hits for K. Doty. That leads LSU to this point. That's something that we saw coming. Jay Johnson talked about it a ton. It was evident in scrimmages. He is stinging the ball to all fields. The home run he hit in Houston to tie the Oklahoma game was a missile to the opposite field. I realize the juice box isn't exactly the polo grounds in terms of hard to hit home runs, but he did club it the other way. He hit a deep, high fly ball for a home run on Tuesday into the Baton Rouge night. It's a left center field, so he's been awesome. Berry was leading the country at last count in home runs with 8. He's been exceptional as well, and then Morgan at the top of the order has been great. Braden Jobert has been a pleasant surprise to me. Wasn't a guy that was in the starting lineup in the opener against Maine, but has been a stalwart ever since then. Started every game at DH and is hitting 345. Jordan Thompson, I thought, swung the bat really well on Tuesday, hit the ball the other way. Also had a nice pull single as well. Had the home run to walk off Oklahoma as well, hitting 304. And then, look, Gavin Dugas is going to be fine. He's only got 1 home run, and he's hitting 295. If this were last year's team and he was doing that, they'd be in a world of hurt. They wouldn't score very much. He was the guy who had to carry that team, and he did so in the regional late in the season. He was clubbing home runs all over the state of Oregon. He'll be fine. He's not going to hit 19 home runs, and he's not going to lead the SEC in runs driven in. But he's hitting 7th or 8th. And there's pop in that bat. You have to respect it. Everybody in this league knows that. So he walked 3 times on Tuesday, and that may be something that they ask him to do. And if you're going to have guys in the lineup swinging it like that, and then you add in Giovanni DiGiacomo, who's hitting 417, you can add Alex Milazzo to this lineup, and he can hit 225, 215, lay down a couple of bunts and make sure there aren't as many pass balls and wild pitches as there have been the last 2 weeks, and I'll live. It's the same principle as Andrew Stevenson for the 2013 team going to center field and hitting 190. Same principle as Austin Nola for the 2009 team, hitting 225 and playing a solid shortstop. When you've got that many pieces around them, it's okay. It's when you start adding guys, 3 or 4 of them that are just defensive players, you don't have enough depth to your lineup. They got plenty of depth in this lineup, and I love it. But there are some guys who are maybe not going to get as many at-bats as I probably would have anticipated early on. Brody Drost has played in 2 games. He's had 2 at-bats. He's a talented guy. I just don't see a way to the field for him. Drew Bianco has not played very much, just 9 at-bats. He's 1 out of 9. But Bianco can play any of the infield or outfield spots in a pinch, and if there's a tough left-hander on the mound that throws hard, and you've got a guy up there that you think maybe a little bit overmatched, whether that's Milazzo or a pinch runner that you've brought in or somebody, maybe Jobert, you don't want him to face that tough lefty. I think Bianco can give you a good pinch hit at bat, so I kind of like that. And I thought Josh Pearson may get a few more swings. He did have a huge hit on Tuesday, 3 for 9 in his limited time. They gave him a huge spot in the game on Friday in Houston, and he struck out. But I do think that he's got a bright future at LSU. Another thing, LSU is not running very much. 10 of 12 on steals, but that's 12 stolen base attempts in 17 games. That doesn't surprise me. Jay Johnson strikes me as kind of a modern offensive guy. And although he is bunting Milazzo some, and that doesn't necessarily play into that, you realize kind of what you have with him and what you got with everyone else. But they're not going to be a heavy steel team. And there are some guys with speed. Cruz runs well. Morgan runs well. Thompson runs well. DiGiacomo runs well. So there are some guys that can move, but I think LSU is going to be a little bit more station to station because there are too many guys in this lineup that can leave the yard or hit you double, and you don't want to waste that out. And if you're only going to run 12 times in the 17 games against the bad teams, you're not going to run much on Ole Miss or Vanderbilt or Florida. Got me? Like, I don't think it's going to be a big piece to this offense. So I'm skeptical of some of the pitching numbers because they're new. Paul Gervais, Eric Raiselman, Blake Money. Some of these guys are new. So while I think I trust most of the guys I just mentioned, you do have to see it. I don't have to see Barry or Doty. Don't have to see Cruz or Morgan, Dugas. I believe in Thompson. We'll see with Joe Air. So right now for me with this team, the SEC is not quite as difficult as I thought it might be. You've had Arkansas lose a Friday night arm. You've had Mississippi State lose 2 weekend arms. You've got an A&M team that's scuffling. Got an Alabama team that has not shown itself to be great. I don't think the schedule's quite as hard as I thought it was. But as I sit here today and look at the SEC schedule, because I'm skeptical of LSU's starting rotation, I will start myself. I was between two. This is how this works, by the way. I had 2 SEC records ready to go in my head. And then I told myself, I'll just pick one as I start to talk about it. And I literally got to the end of the sentence, and I couldn't get it out of my mouth because I'm between it. And they're just one apart. I'll go with 17-13 for this team in the SEC. They've got to take care of business on their home field. I think they're going to hit. And in a conference where you don't see Rocker and Leiter on a weekend, I don't see Asa Lacy over there in College Station. Ole Miss doesn't have what it generally does in the front end of their rotation. I don't see Casey Mize over there at Auburn. Florida doesn't have A.J. Puck throwing 97 from the left side. It's just not quite what it was. My concern level with those road trips has lessened a little bit. It's still there, but it's lessened a little bit. So I'll go with 17-13 for this team. That will likely put you right on the bubble for a top 8 seed. It'll certainly get you a host. But we'll see. That's where I have LSU right now, 17-13. That remains to be changed if Blake Money is out for 3 weeks. We'll have to recalibrate the whole thing. But right now, as I sit here, I'll give him 17-13. Do want to tell you we got our Citizens Bank poll question of the day up before we get to our next interview. Some Wisconsin beat writer will go up to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and chat with Michael Hogan from Badger 247. Citizens Bank poll question of the day: does LSU reach the Sweet 16? Pretty simple. We're talking men's basketball tournament. Yes or no? They'd have to beat Iowa State tomorrow, and then the winner of Wisconsin and Colgate on Sunday. Want to know about Wisconsin? Want to know about Colgate? Michael Hogan from Badger 247 has got your answers. He's going to join us next on Hunt and Hill.
Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill, Hunt and Hill.
Always happy to tell you about Bayou Ford. You can find them at BayouFord.com. New inventory, used inventory, sales, service, parts. It's all there on BayouFord.com. How about this warranty? Pretty good. It's on the website. If you're looking at YouTube, you can check it out right now. 1 million mile powertrain warranty. Basically unlimited time because you're not going to drive your car 1 million miles. But every new Bayou vehicle purchase gets 1 million mile powertrain warranty. It's because it's not always about the exact amount you pay right up front with Bayou Ford. There are so many things that they do so well. You just got to experience it. You got to experience the customer service where they will customize your vehicle and bring it to you. You got to experience the service when you give them your car, take a loaner, they take it to the dealership, do all your service work, get your oil change, bring it back to you. They got 6 full-time drivers on staff. Their job is to get you your vehicle, whether that's a new vehicle, used vehicle that you've purchased, or it's just a day of service. They won't take you off the road because they'll get you that loaner. They've got a great buyback program as well. Obviously, you're looking around, a lot of dealerships are low on cars. You want to sell your car back to Bayou Ford, they'll buy it from you. Get in touch with Ben Gagne and the crew down there at Bayou Ford through BayouFord.com or give them a call. All that information is right there on the website, and you become part of their family. You'll understand the difference when you give Bayou Ford a shot. Go to BayouFord.com.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning.
On a Thursday edition of Early Line, we preview all the evening's action in the NCAA tournament and get some picks from our guy David Cobb, college hoops reporter for CBS Sports. Join us 2 to 3 p.m. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Happy St. Patty's Day. Welcome to the madness. For those of you that are playing a little hooky from work and hanging out with us watching some hoops, it has been pretty entertaining in the early going. Providence is going to hold off South Dakota State. It looks like 20 seconds to go in that one. Providence has a 6-point lead on the Jackrabbits. LSU will start its tournament journey tomorrow in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. They will take on Iowa State. And the other side of that pod, Wisconsin and Colgate. Michael Hogan covers the Wisconsin Badgers for the 247 Network. He joins us now. Michael, thanks for some time. How are you?
Good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, it is our pleasure. All right, let us know. A lot of people around here can go back 22 years and remember a really exciting LSU team that went to the Sweet 16 and played Bo Ryan's Wisconsin team and got ground into a paste and scored about 50 points. Obviously, Bo Ryan no longer there. Greg Gard in control. But is it kind of been the continuation of a culture there in the Wisconsin program?
Yeah, absolutely. You look at Greg Gard. You look at his head coaching career so far. I mean, he was with Bill Ryan for that whole run there, ever since 2001. So he's taken a lot from Bo, and he's also kind of followed his own style. I think a couple of years ago, I wasn't on the beat then, but he kind of said that I'm not going to try to be Bo. I'm going to be myself. But absolutely, when you're with someone for that long, I mean, obviously you're going to try to keep things the same and maybe emulate some things for sure.
If you give me the elevator pitch, just as briefly as you could, kind of put this season from back in November to now for this Wisconsin basketball team.
Well, before the year, expectations weren't very high. They only returned one of their top 5 scorers from last season in fifth-year senior guard Brad Davison. So the expectations weren't very high. They were picked to finish 10th in a preseason media poll. It was an unofficial media poll because the Big Ten doesn't have an official one. But expectations were very low. They had a young team. They have 12 underclassmen. That's the most guards ever had here. But Gard said it himself, multiple times as the season's unfolded. He thought he was going to have a pretty good team, just seeing the pieces and how they kind of came together in the summer. Obviously, he didn't say that until they'd won a couple games this year, but that was his belief before the year. And they haven't really missed a beat at all. I mean, they won the Maui Invitational in November. They beat Texas A&M, St. Mary's, which is a 5 seed in this tournament, and Houston, also a 5 seed in this tournament. Johnny Davis emerged on the scene right away. He averaged about 23.5 points in the Maui Invitational, won the tournament MVP honors. I think that's when everyone maybe realized that this year could be special because they had a star player like him who could take over games and have those signature performances. They had a couple bad losses along the way, but like I said, they never missed a beat. They beat Purdue they swept Purdue for the first time since 2014. They beat Michigan State on the road. They beat Indiana on the road. They were the first Big Ten team since 2010 Ohio State to win at all 3 of those venues in the same season. And obviously they clinched a share of the Big Ten title at home. Against Purdue a couple weeks ago. They couldn't win the outright title. They lost a stinker to Nebraska in the regular season finale. And ultimately had a share at Illinois. But this team's had very few low moments throughout the year, and I think that's been somewhat of a surprise to Greg Gard. I mean, they're 15-3 in games decided by 6 points or fewer. That's pretty rare to be winning games at that rate. And with such a young team.
Sure. As you go back to Valentine's Day, they go to Bloomington and get a win, and they hammer Michigan in the Kohl Center, beat Minnesota, beat Rutgers, then you beat Purdue, like you mentioned, but you come down, lose that game to Nebraska in Madison, and then bow out quickly to Michigan State in the Big Ten tournament. Any concern with those back-to-back losses entering postseason play?
There are some concerning trends recently. They played some sloppy basketball over the last 2 games. Against Nebraska, they came out and turned it over, I think, six or 7 times in their first, 18 possessions of the game. They actually, in that game, Johnny Davis went out with an ankle injury in the second half and didn't return. But it looked like they were going to win the game. They're up by 10 with 12 minutes left and by 9 with 5 minutes left. It looked like they were in pretty good position to escape without Davis there. They missed their last 9 shots in the field, including some layups, uncharacteristic misses. And then against Michigan State, I don't think Davis was 100% in that game. Gard kind of alluded to that in his post-game press conference and said he kind of had an abnormal week at practice. He wasn't in his normal routine. So that clearly affected him in that one. But again, some frustrating, mistakes. They missed free throws. The defense was poor in the second half. Michigan State kind of had its way with that defense, and then they couldn't make a shot near the rim in that game as well. So there have been some concerning trends, but the players, seemed maybe a little bit refreshed to get out of the Big Ten tournament, and now they get to play they get to start tournament play here at home in Milwaukee. They get a couple one home game at least. If they win tomorrow night, they'll have another one on Sunday. And then if they get out of here, they go to Chicago. So they really like their draw. It really came together nicely for them, despite those two pretty disappointing losses over the last couple games.
You mentioned Johnny Davis. For those in Baton Rouge that aren't familiar, he is a top 5 player in the country at this point, and will get National Player of the Year recognition. Tell us about Johnny Davis. One, his health, as you just alluded to there, and then what type of player he is when healthy.
Well, I talked to his dad a couple days ago. I'm working on a story on Johnny right now. And someone asked Johnny this too on Sunday after the Selection Sunday show. Kind of asked him, was it a blessing in disguise maybe to lose early in the Big Ten tournament because you had a couple more days to rest? He obviously didn't answer it that way, but his dad thought it was, maybe a little bit of a blessing in disguise for him to have a couple more days to rest. And I think that is the case too. They had almost a week, to practice and get healthy and get back into a routine. And it's just been a tremendous season for him. I mean, he scored 25 or more points in 9 games. He's had 30 or more in 3 of them. Very humble kid too. That's one thing about him. He's a superstar, but he's a very grounded individual. His twin brother, has had a big part in kind of keeping them that way and kind of humbling them in a sense this year. It's been really fun to follow him and cover him this year. So many big time performances. You can really kind of hard to pick and choose one that stands out because he scored 37 against Purdue on the road, 30 at Indiana on the road. Michigan State, he went off for 25. I mean, that's why he's getting all these accolades. He's making plays. He's clinching games and he's showing up when the lights are the brightest, and that's what got him Big Ten Player of the Year, and that's why he'll likely he's in pretty good position to get National Player of the Year as well. Tough competition for that award. You got Keegan Murray for Iowa, Chet Holmgren at Gonzaga. A lot of tremendous players in the running for that, but I would argue that no player in the country has meant more to his team than Johnny's meant to Wisconsin.
Looking for the Wisconsin side of things this weekend, Michael Hogan at M. Hogan Reports, part of the 247 Network, joining us here on Hunt and Hill. What's option 2 for Wisconsin?
Scoring-wise?
Yeah.
Brad Davison, I would say, he's their second leading scorer. He's their most reliable three-point shooter. This team isn't very good at shooting from the outside, which could be a problem against Colgate, which ranks second in the nation in percentage and 7th in makes. Davison leads the team in three-point makes. He's averaging about a career best 14.5 points per game. He's having one of his most productive seasons of his Wisconsin career. But you look up and down the roster, a lot of guys have improved throughout the year. Freshman point guard Chucky Hepburn, he's in Greg Gard's words, has played beyond his years. He's starting to maybe find a little bit of a stroke from 3. He's 11 of 22, I believe, in his last 6 or 7 games. He made 3 of them, kind of kept him in it against Michigan State in that loss in the Big Ten tournament. Stephen Crowell, he obviously needs to put on maybe some pounds, some weight, or some muscle per se at the center position or forward position, but he's capable of shooting from the outside, kind of stretching the floor a little bit. And then Tyler Wall, obviously, I would actually put him kind of tied with second for Davis in terms of who their next guy is. He's taken a huge step offensively this year. He's averaging about 11 points per game. Tremendous on the defensive end last year and throughout his Wisconsin career, but this year as a junior, he's really stepped it up offensively. Could take another step in terms of consistency from the outside, but Wisconsin has a good one in him too.
Michael Hogan is our guest. For this weekend up in Milwaukee, I'm not sure how many seats the Bucks Arena seats, but LSU's not going to send anybody up there, and I don't imagine Colgate's got a massive following either. How full of Wisconsin faithful do we expect that place to be this weekend?
I believe the Pfizer Forum is like 17,000 something. It's going to be quite the party.
Yeah.
I wasn't on the beat in 2014. I was pretty young then. I wasn't even in college then, but I remember that. I went to some games here, growing up. I remember that 2014 run. It was pretty much sold out with Wisconsin fans. It was a crazy atmosphere. I asked Greg Gard on Sunday about it, how much of an emotional advantage that gave his team, and he said a tremendous amount because he said that he didn't think they would come back to beat Oregon without that crowd. in 2014. They overcame a pretty good-sized deficit to win that game by 8 or 7 points. I wrote about that earlier this week. They're expecting a pretty good crowd again. Obviously, a lot of excitement. Like I said, this is a pretty good draw for them. I think the Midwest region, some have called it maybe the most shaky region. I mean, obviously there's some good teams, but look at Wisconsin's past. They get to play in front of a home crowd on Friday. If they win again, they'll have it on Saturday, and then they go right to Chicago, which there's a huge alumni base there. It's only about 2.5 hours from Madison, so that'd be another opportunity to have some a favorable atmosphere to play in as you start playing Sweet 16 and Elite 8 games, should they get that far.
Those of us in Baton Rouge probably going to be pulling for Colgate tomorrow afternoon. What can you tell us about that team?
Well, like I said earlier, Colgate, they are a very strong outside shooting team. They're shooting better than 40% of the team on the year from the outside. Jack Ferguson, their guard, he leads the team in makes with 90. They got a reserve, Oliver Lynch-Daniels, who's shooting better than 50% from the outside. 5 of their 8 players in the rotation can shoot from the outside, which should be a little bit of a concern considering Wisconsin's just inability to have any consistency from 3. But they've been good at defending the 3, which could save them from having this game turn into a 3-point shooting contest. Another thing too, I mentioned Wisconsin's inexperience. I don't know if you can call them inexperienced after a full season. But the 1,200-classmen is Colgate has, I think, 5 or 6 seniors on that roster, and they've all played NCAA tournament games before. This is their 3rd appearance. All of them have been part of those previous 2. Most of those guys have, so that's another difference. But I think Wisconsin can get off to a good start and not let Colgate establish their confidence right away from the outside. I think that'll bode pretty well for them. I expect the game to be close. That's one thing you can always count on with this Wisconsin team. More than half of their games have been decided by 6 points or fewer. They're 15-3 in those games, as I mentioned earlier. So I'm not expecting a full-on blowout, but I expect Wisconsin to get it done because they're strong at defending the 3, and obviously I don't know if Colgate has ever faced a guy as talented as Johnny Davis. So I'm looking for a bounce-back game from him. After a pretty disappointing Big Ten game while playing injured.
Michael, we really appreciate some time. Thanks so much.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me on.
He is Michael Hogan, covers Wisconsin for Badgers 247. One more time out, we'll take it or leave it, and then we'll get on out of here. It's Hunt and Hill.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You can start your bracket with a bang. Right now, the FanDuel Sportsbook giving new customers a $150 instant bonus guaranteed. That's right. You get a $150 bonus site credit. All you got to do, place your first bet of $5 or more. How you bet the bracket? That's up to you. You can choose for the money line, the total, the prop bets, and much more. I'm looking at the FanDuel Sportsbook right now. You can look at live bets. Baylor odds are changing by the second here. They are now 27.5-point favorites as they're up by 19 on Norfolk State. Tennessee about to crank up here. They're playing Longwood. They are 18-point favorites in that one. You want to bet Longwood to win? You can bet $100. Win $1,280 right now on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Plus, with your cash out, the ball is in your court. You can close out your bet whenever you want before the game is over. So join the FanDuel Sportsbook today with promo code 1045ESPN. You can place your $5 bet to score $150 free dollars in bonus site credit guaranteed. Must be 21 and present in Louisiana. First online real money wager, only $10 first deposit is required. Bonus issued as a non-withdrawable site credit. Expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-877-770-STOP.
We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Bayou Ford has 0.9% for 60 months on new Ford F-150 plus $1,000 bonus cash. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. And right now, get $1,000 bonus cash plus 0.9% APR for 60 months on new 2021 Ford F-150. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an Auctioner care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioner Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law office of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
Moscona inviting you to join us for Wednesday's Hump Day AFR presented by Pluckers. NFL free agency officially begins. Deshaun Watson, Teron Armstead. We'll have all the latest. Join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Citizens Bank poll question each and every day here on Hunt and Hill. This one, will LSU make the Sweet 16 men's basketball tournament? 67% of you say, nah, not going to make it. 33% say they'll make it. I'm in the 33%. I just checked it off. I don't really believe it, but I wanted to be a positive person on Twitter today, so we'll see. We just had a good conversation, though, about LSU's path to the Sweet 16 with Michael Hogan from Badger 247. Also chatted in the first hour with Glenn West of LSU Country and Luke Johnson talking about the Deshaun Watson rumors. We finish it every day with Take It or Leave It. Jeremy Hill is not here, so Taylor Sharp will feed him to me. Fire away, sir.
All right, the Dodgers signed Freddie Freeman to a 6-year, $162 million deal. Take it or leave it, the Dodgers are the favorite to win the 2022 World Series.
I'll take it. What's more important is that's how you run a baseball team. You go get everybody. You go get Mookie Betts. You sign Cody Bellinger again. You go get Freddie Freeman. You take Max Scherzer in a trade. That's how you run a baseball program. Everyone else needs to realize it. The Cubs certainly need to figure it out. That's how you handle a baseball program. I will take that.
A New Jersey bettor wagered $300,000 on Duke to win it all. The winning payout would be over $5 million. 6-figure bets. Take it or leave it.
You got the means, I guess. I'll take it.
I'll take it.
That's not a terrible bet. Like, if you got $300,000 and you want to turn it into $5 million, Duke's not the worst team I've seen to bet it on. It's not the shortest odds. I think it's a reasonable one. Jimmy's coming up at 6 to 8. He'll give you a better read on that than I would, but I'm okay with it.
The first 4. Take it or leave it.
I'm leaving it. It needs to be a 64-team tournament. Yeah, it's basketball on Tuesday and Wednesday, but these 16 seeds should not be playing in Dayton against other 16 teams. They ought to be able to play Gonzaga, Duke, Michigan State, Kansas, Baylor, Kentucky. They've earned that by winning their conference tournament. I realize it gives them a chance to win a game, and maybe that's a little bit more fun, but I'd rather make sure I'm definitely getting to the Thursday or the Friday, hearing the music and playing one of these elite teams. So I'm going to leave the first 4.
Vegas during the first week of March Madness. Take it or leave it.
I'm going to leave that. Look, I love Vegas. I think it's so much fun. I actually went Sweet 16 Elite 8 weekend. I didn't go for that. I was there for a conference. That was really good. It wasn't overly jammed. This weekend, I can't imagine you can even get to the window. Your flights are probably more expensive. Hotels probably more expensive. They know everybody's coming. They can price it whatever they want, and people are going to show up. I'm going to leave Vegas during the first weekend of March Madness. Let's do the last one here, Taylor.
Erlapalooza. Take it or leave it.
We will take Erlapalooza. I want to make it very clear now. There's been a change. You can buy tickets the day of on Saturday for Erlapalooza. Of course, that is Uncle Earl's official St. Patrick's Day after party, the Wearing of the Green Parade. $100 to buy your tickets the day of on Saturday. You want to buy them right now, UncleEarls.com. Those will be cheaper. So go to the website, buy them at UncleEarls.com in advance. It'll be cheaper. You can buy them at Walk Up, but going to cost you a little bit more if you're going to buy it then. So UncleEarls.com. You can also register to win. We're giving away tickets tomorrow. 1045ESPN.com. Go to the contest page. Go on down to Erlapalooza, and when you do that, you can win free tickets tomorrow, which will be given out. I can't remember. Do I have 10 seconds or a minute 10 seconds? I'm done. All right. That's it. Matt's going to drive you home 3 to 6 on AFR. Jimmy is coming up game time 6 to 8. Your early line is next with Mario and Musso. See you tomorrow on Hunt and Hill.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has new 2022 Ram 1500 Bighorns in stock with 0